Eskin. Oh, yeah. Hey, you turn it up, Philly. It's time to roll on the ones and twos, taking full control. From the link to the X, from the sixes to the fields. One voice cuts through, giving you the real. He broke the stories, he started the fire, launched the whole game back in '86, never retired. Heroes crown him, yeah, they call him the king. Fur coat flashing, bling bling in every ring. He's the hardest working, great talking dog. Call in with your tape, but don't get it wrong. He'll call you a nitwit if you're acting a fool, but deep down you love it. That's the Eskin rule. Riding with the king, yeah, we're riding with the king. Howard Eskin show, let the truth ring. Eagles, Phillies, Sixers, Flyers, he knows the deal. Philly sports royalty, bow down and kneel. Riding with the king, put your hands in the air. From South Philly streets to the Delaware. No filter, no fear, just the facts on the mic. It's the Howard Eskin show. Let's go get sight. Hey, riding with the king. Riding with the king. Hey, riding with the king. Riding with the king.
And good morning, as we're live on Saturday morning. Breaking news. There's breaking news. I'm just going to follow what all local and national newscasts do to start their show. Breaking news. Breaking news. I'll get to the breaking news. The Phillies are breaking news. The Eagles are still breaking, whether that's news or not. We'll talk about that. But there is so much to discuss this morning, and I'm going to do that with you. Hopefully, you know how to click in. We put the link up on the chat line so you can join the show, whether it's with just audio or audio and the video. Remember, when you click on allow the microphone and camera, and then if you don't want the camera, just click the camera link off and you're good. It's just so, but there is a lot to talk about, both with the Eagles and the Phillies, and it's just it's not good with it's it's crazy. It's not good with either. Usually you get something that's okay. No, it's not okay. All right, it's not okay. It's not okay. All right, so we'll touch. We'll do more than touch on it. We'll talk about the Eagles. Uh, the moving on. I hate to use the word fired because nobody deserves that. But the Eagles moving on from the offensive coordinator is one thing, but now there's so many people starting to come out and implying that maybe now people are starting to realize that there's other issues, but that's breaking news too. There's other issues. Breaking news. We'll talk about that. I have my opinion. You have yours. It's there's been some criticism, but the Eagles had their postseason news conference earlier, obviously, than they wanted to. And I don't know if Nick Sirianni or Howie Roseman said anything. Matter of fact, I don't know that they said anything, and it was kind of cleanup. And we'll get to those comments by the head coach and Howie Roseman. We'll do that. Where do the problems exist? Coaches, players, quarterback, coaches, quarterback. But it just people. You got to get over Kevin Patullo, and as I said, I mean, they'll get. Obviously, everybody will talk about whoever they hire, and he'll look like he has a good resume, and he may. Whatever, and he probably does. I mean, whoever they hire will have a good resume as the offensive coordinator. However, you still have to convince the quarterback to do some good things and do more things, not good things, more things. I see there's somebody from Augustine, Florida, welcome. Tarpon Springs, Florida, welcome. New York City, welcome to you too, Abington. It's Patty from Abington. But hey, listen, it's part of the air. It's all part of it. It's all part of it. And we'll talk about the Phillies. Not a good week for Phillies fans. And looking when I posted the loss of a free agent, the contract the Phillies offered Bo Bichette is embarrassing. It was embarrassing to think they had a chance to get Bo Bichette with that contract they offered him is ridiculous. With the money that's now out there, it's beyond ridiculous, beyond ridiculous. But it's their own fault. And then because they didn't, I see Tarpon Springs, Florida. Uh, Joining a lot of people from Florida, especially at this time. Altoona, Pennsylvania. Tom from Altoona. It's Ewing, New Jersey. We're getting them from all over. That's great. That's nice. Thanks. Thanks for joining the show. But once the Phillies didn't sign Bo Bichette, then they were kind of forced into signing JT Realmuto, had him by the you know whats. They originally wanted to offer him. They originally wanted to offer him 2 years at like 12 million. They signed him for more than that. And again, it's another. I'll say, oh, you don't like to use the word old, but they've signed older players. I see a comment here from JJ Morning King, and then he calls me doctor, which I do have a PhD. The Phillies are becoming a joke, and it's getting worse and worse. From Cecil County, Maryland, the Phillies. Well, I don't know if they're still Phillies fans. That's the whole thing. I don't know if they're still Phillies fans. So we welcome you, Northeast Florida, checking in. We're in Northeast Florida, Jim. What? I don't even know what areas are in Northeast Florida. You know, it's interesting when the Phillies signed Don Mattingly, and that's a nice signing. I see Roberts is joining us from Aruba. But when they signed Mattingly, you thought, oh, well, I didn't think it, but people did. You thought, well, maybe Bo Bichette will come here. They don't come for the coach. They come for the money. They come for the money. York, Pennsylvania, joining the show. Hey, we got everybody calling from all over, joining from all over, and you're welcome to call whatever part, whatever area you are from. My thought on Mike McDaniel. Well, I'll give you my thought on Mike McDaniel. A strange guy, obviously knows the offense, but again, you've got to get the quarterback to be, and it's all about comfort. You got to get the quarterback to be comfortable with the plays. Jason Avant made a great point, and Jason Avant was on our last show on Wednesday night. He was riding with the king on the Howard Eskin show, and he was terrific. So when if you have time, you always have time, go back and listen. Go back and listen to Jason Avant. Honest, forthright, just he explained everything well. Wasn't over the top in doing it. He just explained everything very well. Okay, Northeast Florida is Jacksonville. But let me tell you, before we get into more of the program, this fine show is presented by Stillwell Financial Advisors. Jeff Stillwell is the man. It's just it just benefits you. It benefits you to just at least check in, see if there's a compatibility there. But he knows his stuff. He knows how to invest in a changing world of finance in this country, actually any country, but in this country for sure. Give Jeff Stillwell a call, 732-343-0813. I see a comment here. Saw a report that A.J. Brown requested a trade several times during the season. That was on social media. Let me just repeat to many people. It's not social and it's not media. People just throw things out. And what's the big deal if they throw things out? Uh, it's just what's the it doesn't make any difference, and people talk about it. No, I'm not going to. Those things on the internet. Mm, it's just, um, yeah. You can't believe 80% of it. All right, you can't believe 80% of it. Man, AJ Brown. A few games into the season is ridiculous. It's not that early in the season he's going to do that. See somebody from Ponte Verde in Florida, from Shreveport, Louisiana. I can't believe it's amazing that people are listening from really all over the world, but certainly all over the country. Um, and I'll ask Mark Lawrence what he thinks about the latest gambling scandal. That's a joke. These college players, and it's just the smaller schools, and anybody that's stupid enough to put big wagers and thinking you're not going to get caught and big numbers on McNeese State and those kind of schools. What do you think? You're not going to get caught at doing that? It's really, really kind of a joke. All right, let me also, before I get to you, and I think there's Joe, there's some people on the line, right, that want to jump in before. Uh, there was somebody else that joined before we actually even started the show. Uh, Yeah, I think he was just trying to link to see how it worked. But let me tell you about another one of our fine partners, and that would be Piazza Property Pros. You can transform your front yard, transform your backyard, whatever it is, and now you can do it. Even though the weather's not the best, there's still some things that can be done other than putting in a pool if that's what you want. But you got to make a decision uh, somewhere. A good morning from Caesars in Atlantic City. It's nice. You join St. Augustine, Ponte Verde, Jacksonville. Yeah, it's all those people. Somebody suggested you all meet for breakfast. But let me not get distracted here. Piazza Property Pros is not a distraction. A friend of mine got in touch with them, and they're going to get together about things that he wants to do with his property. 25 years. That's 25 years of experience. It's probably 26 now because we've been talking about him for a while. They can turn whatever vision you have into a reality. Landscaping, fencing, excavation, hardscaping, pool maintenance, building a pool. Can't do it now in the winter, but you got to make that decision. Piazza Property Pros, exceptional results. Check, touch with all the terrific people at Piazza Property Pros. Touch base with them. Give them a call, 610-566-2608. You can schedule a free consultation, 610 566 2608, or visit piazzaoutdoor.com. Ocean City joining the show this morning. Joining the city. So, good morning from Arizona. Man, I'm telling you, I guess I'm not overly surprised, but there's a lot of people from a lot of parts of the country, and most of the people that are commenting on the Phillies are not happy. And the Eagles, we know they're not happy. All right, George, you'll join the show before we get to Mark Lawrence. And I know you have, is George there? Was George there? George was.
Here.
There you go.
Howard, how are you?
Another day in paradise. What's wrong with Philadelphia sports right now?
Howard, I was going to get to that with you for my therapy
The
session, but
Eagles,
I have
the
three
Eagles
frauds
lose the
of the
first
week
game.
for
Let
you.
me finish my comment, George. What's wrong with Philadelphia sports now? There's nothing wrong. The Sixers suck. The Eagles lost in the first round, and the Phillies didn't get anything done in in free agency. Oh, they signed some mid-level pitchers. Great. It's a joke. Go ahead, George. What do you got on your
You know
mind?
the comments you used to say, Howard, after sometimes when Phillies fans were upset, put the Coast Guard by the bridges. Um, I'm just disappointed. I mean, in the Phillies, they were snookered. They had no shot at Bichette.
Well,
They stayed
hold
up
it.
late.
They did. They did if they wanted to pay him. To offer. And I was told, and I don't know if anybody else has reported this, and I reported it on my social media platforms, that I was told they offered Bo Bichette 8 years at 200 million. Now you might think, oh yeah, 8 years at two, it's 25 million a year. In 3 years, in 2 years, it's outdated now. But in 2 years or 3 years, it's outdated. That was an embarrassment to think that they had a chance at Bo Bichette offering him an 8 year, $200 million contract. It's a joke. It's a joke. You're not going to get him. The average, but they signed all these other players. They try to keep their average salary down and thinking 200 million. Are you kidding me? So he got with the Mets 3 years at 126 million, and he'll only be 30 years old when and he can opt out every year. 30 years old when that contract's up if he doesn't opt out. It's a joke. It's a joke that he'll get another big contract. So within the 8 years that the Phillies offered him, he might have not just this contract, but two more after it at least 40 some million a year. I mean, what did they think that they were going to get with that other than, laughs and giggles? I mean, it's a joke. It's a joke.
Howard, I came on here to give you 3 frauds of the week, and Dave Dombrowski's one. I think the game's gone by him. Just what you said about the contract. Now, talking about college football, thank God he's gone from Penn State. Did you see what Virginia Tech did with James Madison?
No.
They offered James Madison $800,000 to take them off their schedule.
Why? They want to play a good team?
They're not going to play a good team.
Well, actually, James Madison, from what I remember,
James Madison's not bad.
They're not a bad. That's right. They're not a bad team. But
they're going to take a peanut.
Enough,
they're going to take a peanut farmer team. Come on.
Yeah,
that's what Franklin's all about. Thank God he's waiting
wait
for
a minute.
State College.
So if they take him off, are they going to put on a Division II or Division III team, or are they going to put on a real team?
They're probably put on a real team.
No, they're probably going to put on a.
He pads
really
his schedule,
team.
Man. That's why I couldn't stand him at Penn State. Hey,
yeah.
You give James Madison $800,000 to get off. We want to put someone else on there so I can pad my schedule. Come on. Yeah. I saw that this week. I almost lost my mind.
Oh boy, it's just it's really well, James Franklin. It's now that he's not at Penn State, out of sight, out of mind.
Thank goodness. Now, you've been right about this, and everyone's jumping on the ship, man, about Jalen Hurts. I'm a huge fan of his. Jalen, you got to do what you got to do to win. I know you got us to 2 Super Bowls, but if I'm hearing what's true, that you're just not doing the playbook, or there's certain plays that you don't want to do, it's about winning. And he's not
comfortable. He's not comfortable with a lot of the plays that they have in the playbook. And if a player's not comfortable with it, well, obviously the quarterback's not comfortable with it, you're not going to run it, because then you feel you have less chance of success with that. So Nick Sirianni tried to make a point of something he did, and I'm going to play that comment later. He did, you have to beg him to do certain things. Well, beg him is probably a strong word, but it's just, the quarterback's got to do better things. And how many years are you going to wait for that? But he's the quarterback next year. You hope he can get better. You assume the offensive coordinator is going to make it better. The reason Kellen Moore was successful is because they had a running game. And now that the offensive line's not as good, the running game's not as good. And when you rush for 2,000 yards, that's a big part of that. Means the quarterback doesn't have to pass as much. And that's a big thing too. Your thoughts on the Phillies, George?
You know what? They're running back the band again, and I go to games, and I'm just disappointed. They didn't do anything, Howard. They didn't do anything. They didn't do a darn thing. And
the good thing about all this, the good thing, they may not be able to really be smart in trading Bohm. They wanted to trade Bohm. Somebody pointed up, and I don't know that this is correct, he was the 10th leading hitter in the National League in 2025. Well, the leading hitter didn't just hit just a little over 300. What was that, Trey Turner?
Yeah, it was 304. I think 302 he was. That's nuts.
Well, but Alec Bohm makes contact. But So, and then they were going to switch around things. But whatever the reality is, their pitching is good, but probably not as good, even though Painter's going to pitch. But, Painter did not have a good year in the minor leagues, but he's your fourth starter. Taiwan Walker right now is your fifth starter, which is really a joke. Um,
To be excited about. Wait, Howard, you're
yeah,
making it great here for the therapy session here for me. Come on.
yeah, Senior Citizens Park, and JT is 35 before the season even starts, and he's had injuries, and his offense went down. They're not, boy, they're going to have some struggles this year.
What, 88 wins? We're going to be excited about that. For
You know
88
what? I
wins?
don't know, and it wouldn't be shocking if they didn't make the playoffs. That wouldn't be a shock. I mean, it would be a major, major, major disappointment. There goes John Middleton's legacy. He's worried about his legacy. Well, and he would pay whatever, but he's got other owners that say no. But if you did the right things, and Dave Dombrowski, this is a different approach. Dave's a good guy, and he probably knows baseball a little bit. Whenever he's left the team in most cases has not been that good, but he usually traded away all their young talent, all their minor league people to try to go after it right now. But the Phillies and John Middleton won't let him do all that. You're not obviously you weren't going to trade Painter. You weren't going to trade Crawford. Aiden Miller's going to be, from what I understand, a really good player, but that's probably a year from now. So I just and the Phillies raise ticket prices, but everybody does that. So whether you're good or you're not good, so
I don't worry. When I go to the game, I don't park there either. So I just I go in the neighborhood and just take
Did
a drink.
you? I think I saw you the other night. Did you see Jason Avant on the show the other night?
I sure I was going to bring him up about with Jalen. He is sharp, man.
I tell you, he is
should be on
so on, and
TV or
he's
have
not
his own
afraid.
show, Howard.
He's not afraid to say anything. But
And that's what I like. He's kind of like you have been for years. We need that back again in sports.
Yep, that's absolutely right. So, all right, George, you have
Thanks,
a
Howard.
great week, and
You too.
we'll see you next show, I'm sure. All right, take care. All right, there are other things we've got to do. Let me just give you our winner from the last show, and then I'm going to have Mark Lawrence jump in. The winner of the $100 gift certificate from Maroney Custom Clothing, where I guess my custom suits made. Louis DeSanto answered the question, which Jason Avant suggested 4 teams that would be good because of the coaches for A.J. Brown, if in fact he went somewhere, suggested for A.J. Brown's sake. And I said, if you get 3 out of the 4, you're good. Green Bay with Matt LaFleur, Chicago with Ben Johnson, San Francisco with Kyle Shanahan, and the Rams with Sean McVay. And Lewis, congratulations. Maroney is in Mullica Hill, but I get my shirts, my custom shirts, and my custom suits and sport coats made at Maroney, and you'll enjoy it. Congratulations, Lewis. All right, let's bring in. We still have weekends of football left in a national championship game, and maybe touch on college basketball a little bit. Let's bring in Mark Lawrence to talk about the weekend in football. 2 games today and 2 games tomorrow. Mark, good morning, and as always, welcome. How are you this morning?
I'm doing terrific, Howard. Looks like it's a little nippy up there in Philadelphia right now.
Yeah, it's going to be like in the 20s, like the next 3 or 4 days. That's the highs in the 20s.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, down here in Miami, it was in the 30s 2 days ago.
Really?
Yes, it got to 38 degrees here 2 days ago. So that cold front has hit everybody, believe me.
I don't think those people are going into the ocean for the ice swim.
No, they're not.
At 30 degrees. I can't imagine what the ocean, it's probably the ocean for them being in the 40s or 50s is cold.
Absolutely. Well, being in my pool, if it's not 80, it's cold. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it's crazy. All right. So we have 2 games today. Let's look at them. And, it's coming down. It's coming down to the nitty gritty with this. All right. Who do you like? Let's start with the first game today is Buffalo, Denver. Who do you like?
I'm going to take a look at Denver in the football game here. I'm kind of an anti-Buffalo guy and have been most of the year this year, and it's largely because of their rush defense, which is by far the worst of all the playoff teams this year. And you oftentimes get exposed with that in the playoffs. Now you've got Buffalo taking out onto the road here off of their win at Jacksonville last week. So back-to-back road games for Buffalo against a well-rested Denver Bronco football team. And the thing that was strange in this football game to me up until about 2 days ago is Denver was the home underdog in the game. Number one seed home underdog, it just didn't fit. And it didn't last long because they're now the 1 or 1.5 point favorite. It was only the fourth time it was ever you found a number one seed that was a home underdog. But Denver's not done anything wrong this year. Number one seed. I think Buffalo gets exposed. And Josh Allen, by the way, that win he had at Jacksonville last week was his first road win in his NFL playoff career.
Yeah, I'm going to give you another thing to think about. Buffalo is on a short week, which is not a big deal anymore in the NFL. However, they're going to Denver, and the altitude could be an issue. Short week, and you want to get to Denver early, in most cases, maybe a day early to try to get used to it. So I'm not sure if that could be a factor in this game.
I think it will factor in. That's one of the reasons for Denver's success, not only in football but all sports. You look at the basketball team; altitude plays into the situation, and I think it will here too as well. And I also like Sean Payton over Sean McDermott. I think he's a little bit better of an X and O guy, and I think they have the edge also with the head coaching in the game.
All right. The next game of the day, today, as we speak on Saturday, 49ers at Seattle, and a lot of factors to figure into this game. So who do you like?
Well, the one that I'm going to hop into, Howard, is what just happened 2 weeks ago to San Francisco. They lost to Seattle, and that loss cost them the number one seed. If they'd have beat Seattle 2 weeks ago at home, they'd be indeed hosting Seattle in this football game instead of on the road here. But also, there's a nice, neat angle inside the game. We put it in our newsletter this week that any divisional round road team that's coming with the same season revenge loss as I just laid out here, if they were away in their last game and they're away in this game, they are 10-1 against the spread. That's a 91% winning angle, which comes to San Francisco. I do like the Niners in this game. I realize they're beat up and they're banged up, and we've been saying that all season long. But all Kyle Shanahan does is find a way to get his football team to win games in a contest like this. And you've also got rumor that Darnold is iffy for this football game and may not start. And if it happens, I haven't seen the line move much anyway. I'm a little bit surprised it's still sitting where it is.
But people probably know that Darnold's going to play.
I would think so.
They throw that into the mix to try to, they think this psychological thing. Do you think San Francisco is going to say, well, if he plays or not plays, and and they're going to give less of an effort? I mean, that's ridiculous.
It is.
So you like San Francisco plus the points. Obviously, you think they have a chance to win the game, but
Yes, I do.
it just that'll be a fascinating game if they win the game and LA wins on Sunday, which I think the Rams are going to win. That would be an interesting matchup between the two, but I think the Rams are the better team. But okay, so the Saturday games, you like Denver and you like San Francisco with the points. Is there any total in either one of those games that you like in the Saturday games?
Well, I'd look to the under in this Frisco Seattle game. Number one, it's playoff time. Number two, they're divisional opponents who know each other real well, and you usually don't find wild, high-scoring games in matchups in the postseason like that. I'd probably lean under in this Frisco Seattle game as well.
Okay, all right. Let's take a look at Sunday. The Houston Texans, terrific defense, terrific, playing at the Patriots, and they have a very, very, very good defense. The Patriots are a 3.5-point favorite. Who do you like?
I think of the four games, to me, this is the most difficult. Number one, because as you mentioned, Houston, the number one defense in the National Football League. And when teams bring that to the table and they're underdogs, you almost always look their way because the defense will keep them in the game from start to finish. You've got in New England, maybe the hottest team in the National Football League. The thing that concerns me is, has Houston ever been this far before? I don't think so. I know they're 0-6 in divisional games in their career. They've never won a divisional game. And you're going to step in front of a red-hot New England football team You've also got a little bit of a dome factor working here, where Houston, a dome team, comes in New England, uh, where it's a little bit nippy, as you know, Howard, on the East Coast there. That could favor the Patriots as well. I'm going to have a small lean in this contest in New England.
And I'd like to point this out too. The last game, and I don't know how they won the game because Pittsburgh stinks. But they had 5 fumbles, 3 of them they lost, and an interception. Pittsburgh was +2 on turnovers and got smoked. But I worry about CJ Stroud is a nice quarterback, but he turns the ball over a little bit, and it seems like Houston turns the ball over against New England. If you turn the ball over, you will not win the game. Will not. So that's a factor I think to look at as well.
Since Mike Vrabel's had this team very well coached, and I think he's may end up being coach of the year in the National Football League this year for what he's done with that program. The one good thing that he's done is when his team comes in with a health win percentage 750 or better, he's won 7 of the 8 games he's played when this team is really cooking and humming. That's exactly what they're doing right now. They have a lot of momentum to the Patriots right now.
Okay, and the other game of the day, and that's the last game of the weekend. The Rams, a 4-point favorite at the Chicago Bears. Your thoughts?
I would be all over the Rams like white on rice in this game, were it not for the fact that they too are a dome team playing in Chicago.
Yeah.
But I do like the Rams nonetheless. I think they can get over that factor here, if for no other reason. I like Sean McVay, the head coach here. I think he's a master when it comes a master class head coach in the National Football League. And I had sent you, I don't know if you had a chance to look at it or not, one of the wildest stats that I've come across ever in the National Football League applies in this football game. And what it is Sean McVay, somehow he's playing his 15th playoff game, and all 15 opponents he's only met one time. He's never played the same team twice in the National Football League playoffs. This is number 15 in a row for McVay. 15 times. It's unbelievable that you go that long and not face the same opponent twice.
You know what? Chicago's done a nice job this year, and they're a good team, but they're an underdog for a reason. They are the underdog for a reason. And I think the Rams are the best team in the NFC. I don't know if they're the best team in the NFL, but all that'll play out. But I think the Rams are the best teams. And Chicago, if that game was on a neutral site, the Rams would probably be at least a touchdown favorite.
Yeah, they'd
Would
be
you think?
6. They'd be
Yeah.
6 for sure. Right.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So any total you like in either one of these games?
Well, again, I'd look to the unders, and when you have involved a number 1 defense in the National Football League, I think you have to look under in this Houston New England game. 2 really, really good defenses clashing, and I don't think they both bust in the same football game.
All right. And then we have a national championship game in football. The ticket prices down in your area are out of control. It's ridiculous. The ticket prices are out of ridiculous. But regardless of that, it is. It looks like it's a marquee matchup because Miami has played well and Indiana is an 8.5-point favorite. Indiana is a terrific football team. Who do you like here?
Well, usually I'm making a case for the dog, especially the home dog that's a winning team, which Miami checks those boxes. But truth of the matter is, Howard, I'm getting tired of trying to beat Indiana. You know what they are? They are the same type of team, and they look exactly a cousin to the LSU Tigers when Joe Burrow won the Heisman Trophy, and they creamed everybody when they won the national championship
Right.
that year as well. They just blew the drawers off of every team they played, and Indiana's doing the same thing with this Heisman Trophy winning quarterback in Fernando Mendoza here. This town is all geeked up here for the Hurricanes, but I think when push comes to shove, Kirk Cignetti holds a mile difference in head coaching ability to Mario Cristobal here. Give me Cignetti, who's a terrific head coach, lousy personality, but terrific head coach. I think Indiana closes the season like LSU did when they won their championship.
The totals in college are usually, in a lot of cases, over 50. This is under. It's like 47, maybe 47 and a half. It's kind of like begging you to take the over And I don't know that I would go to the over. I
I would
think I
say
would
don't
lean
do
to
that, Howard. No.
no, I would lean towards the under.
You know, the one thing about Indiana is they are good for the prime reason is not so much their offense, it's their defense.
Yep.
They've held 11 opponents to season low points this football season here. This defense is terrific. And the reason they're terrific is they play what they call an umbrella zone defense, where they drop a linebacker back into the secondary. So they've got 5 defensive backs back there, and nobody ever, all season long this year, picks up a big yard play. They don't both big scoring plays against this football team. They contain everybody, and that's what Cignetti's strength is. His key to winning defensively with his Indiana Hoosiers.
Okay, I want to touch on college basketball, but before we do that, we got to get a little law and order in here because again, again, we have a fixing, cheating, whatever scandal that happened in 24. But I guess I don't guess I know when the FBI goes after something, boy, they take their time and they get all their ducks in a row. When is this? Or how is this going to? I have some ideas. How do you think this is going to stop? It's ruining the ability for people to just have fun gambling. When you're trying to kill it and you're stupid enough to bet big money on teams like McNeese State, what do you think? You're not going to get caught? You know, how stupid are some of these people? But your thoughts on that situation?
Well, remember this, Howard. None of these players have their diploma yet, so they're not the sharpest knife in the drawer. Okay.
Okay. Not that they're going to get a diploma or were going to get a diploma.
Maybe doing so, right. One of the ways I think technically that they could button a lot of this up is these people that play at the legal sports books with their devices, they can be tracked geographically where they're making their bets from. They have to live within a certain state or you're not allowed to play there. But you can also track who that player is that's making that bet. And if you find an inordinate amount of money coming in, let's say on McNeese State, a sports book right away will throw the antennas up, and then they can report who that particular individual is to the NCAA. They have to make that a plan that everybody's aware of. You make the play, you're going to be tracked, and everybody's going to know about it. That's my first thought about it.
When you start betting $2,000 on a McNeese State basketball game, and obviously it's done in multiple places, and not just one, that's one sports book. What do you think? Somebody's not going to say, wait a minute, who the hell is betting $2,000? And I know, the sports book, I think they tried to do that at the Borgata. I talk to those people occasionally just to find the gentleman that runs the sports book. When you bet $2,000 on a game like that, what do you think? Somebody's not going to. What are you doing, McNeese
Absolutely,
State?
they're aware of it.
It's a joke. And then they got the player to admit it. Some players think, well, it's just a stipend. They're just paying me to play. No, they're not. It's just. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, well, with the NIL and the transfer portal and all the money that's out there, the one thing that doesn't go with it is gambling on your games that you're playing. And that's the biggest black eye I think the NCAA faces right now is controlling that. They have to put a lid on it. And if they were going to, what would you do, Howard, to help tramp all this down?
I don't care if people are interested. I don't even know who McNeese State was playing, but that's the name I remember because I saw the logo on the basketball court, and that's what stuck in my mind. But I would not even put them on the board. Now the NCAA can't say anything, but the sports books, if they want to keep the business legitimate, let's say legitimate's not the right word, honest, just don't put those, we'll put limits on it. Limits don't work because it just, there's certain sports books don't. You're not permitted, and I don't know who could make that law or who could make that rule. The federal government's not going to get involved in that. They're going to put guys away. And some of the people involved were the people that were involved in the NBA betting scandal. But you can't do anything. You got to have all the games in the NBA. But in college, you can't there's no betting on the, and so people don't watch the game. Who gives a damn whether people
Well,
watch
I think at the
McNeese State?
very least, what they could do, what they do is they call circling the games, where there's limits. You know, a $300 wager limit is the most you can bet on a game like that, as opposed to wide open limits like 2 or 3,000. So if the game is limited like that, there's not going to be a lot of action coming to it. And if suddenly there's a bunch of $300 bets pouring in on McNeese State, the alarm goes off.
You're probably not going to be able to pay the player enough
No, you're
if you
not.
can only if you limit it to three. You got to do something with those smaller schools. Like when Temple got caught, they played what was it, Alabama A&I or some low level
High
low
school.
level school, and people weren't paying attention to that Temple game. It just so there's other games like McNeese State, small schools, and you bet big money. You got to find a way to stop that because it just listen. I think people are getting carried away with the gambling, and they get themselves buried, and then they start chasing their money, and that's not a good thing either.
Well, the
So
sports books have to help the NCAA out here for sure,
yeah,
and they're the ones that have to be able to report the ongoings of the ugliness of what they're seeing happening. They're just as responsible as the players themselves.
yeah, and probably they should be asked if they see an abnormal bet. They know what's going on. When they see an abnormal bet, they know there's something phony going on. All right. So college basketball. I know you're going to start rolling into that soon. Do you have anything in college basketball for the people today?
Yeah, we just published our first newsletter of the season, and I always wait until just about playoff NFL playoff time because you get into college basketball, and most of these games now are conference games, which are really, really meaningful, and you can start picking things apart.
Hmm.
There are what I think are two live dogs in the college basketball card today. The first is Cornell. They're playing Yale, which is not sort of a little bit of a minor off the
Yes.
off the board kind of a game because it's an Ivy League game. But Cornell comes into the game. Yale beat them in the Ivy League championship game last year. Now they're coming into this game off a pair of bad losses where they allowed 100 points in both of the basketball games, yet
Hmm.
they're still a 500 team. I think you're going to find Cornell's going to give up a big effort against Yale today. I'm going to play them plus 6.5 points.
Okay. So actually, I see a number, and again, I see a number like 8.5
Nine and a half,
now.
I should say. Yes, right,
Yeah, 8.5.
right.
Okay, and that's an afternoon game. Who else do you like?
The other one, I'm going to look at Southern Cal. They're going to be home to Purdue in this game. And again, it's revenge from the tournament last year, the Big Ten tournament. It was Purdue that sent Southern Cal home from the tournament with a loss. So they've got this big revenge factor working in the game, does Southern Cal. But more importantly, their head coach is Eric Musselman. And I'll tell you
Okay.
guys, he's one of the best coaches there is in college basketball when it comes to beating the spread, especially as an underdog, especially with revenge. And he's both of that here today. I think Southern Cal might pull the rug out on Purdue in this basketball game. That would be a big upset, but they have the ability to do just that. I'll play Southern Cal plus the points.
You know, and that's like they're getting a lot of points, and they're at home. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, you're getting a point. You know, I just noticed that LaSalle St. Bonaventure game has no line, and I'm trying to figure out why it doesn't have a line. Wasn't St. Bonaventure one of the teams involved in the betting scandal?
This one we just talked about?
Yeah.
I don't know if they were or weren't, but I also don't know is if they would impose that right away until something was finalized on that.
Well,
That would
there's no
sort of be
reason to put up a line if you it's like not that many people should be betting on St. Bonaventure LaSalle anyway.
no, it should be a circle game anyway, right?
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
So, all right. If people have interest in Mark's services, 800 or on the internet, playbooksports.com. Somebody questioned Cornell Yale. People say, well, it's a small game. Who cares? You're betting the game to win money. You're not betting the game because it's a great game.
Hey, they don't have to look good, Howard. All they have to do is cash a ticket. That's all they have.
Yeah, right. These people. It's just unbelievable. Hey, Mark, you have a great day and a great week, and we'll talk to you again next week. So, Indiana is your play on Monday too, right?
I like the Indiana Hoosiers on Monday. I think they'll roll. Yes.
Okay. All right. Take care.
Have a good
Mark
weekend,
Lang.
Howard. Be well. Take care.
You
Bye bye.
too. Bye. It's betting scandal. These people, they made some money and now they're done. Now they're done. And the players, what are the players thinking about? I know they don't, a lot of these guys don't have a lot of money and they get guys that, are not well off. It's just, it's terrible. All right. All right. So we're going to start. There's a lot of things we're going to start doing. And also, I'm going to have a pair of Oakley sunglasses to give away today. It's just some of the things that Mark said, and I'll have a question. I'll have a question on something that was said by Mark, and you will have a chance to win a pair of Oakley sunglasses. And I'm going to talk about a bunch of things now. Okay, we need to talk about the Eagles. We need to talk about the Phillies. And I would absolutely love your opinion. I'm going to play a comment from Nick Sirianni from the news conference this week. Now, one of the things that he said at his news conference when he changed the offensive coordinator, we want the offense to evolve. What the hell does that mean? Want it to evolve? Is that the offensive coordinator or is that your player or players? You want it to evolve. Well, you're the head, and I like Nick Sirianni. And I'm going to preface this: I like Nick Sirianni as a coach, as a person. These news conferences are a waste of time, but and he's a good coach, and he gets players to play for him. I get all that, but some of the things he says at these news conferences are just ridiculous. Well, he wants the offense to evolve, so changing the offensive coordinator is going to have it evolve. But you're the head coach. I don't get it. But there's another comment from Nick Sirianni. I want to play it for you, and I'm going to comment after his comment and tell you that it's just like, is he trying to protect somebody? Is it just a bunch of garble? Let me play one of the things that Nick Sirianni said this week at the news conference that the Eagles held.
You saw this year that he's open to do a bunch. We were under center probably more than we have been. Different motions, different things like that. Here's what I'll say: like Jalen always wants to do. Like Jalen's proved this to everybody that he'll do whatever it takes to win football games, and sometimes that's throwing it a bunch. Sometimes that's running it a bunch. Sometimes it's him handing it off a bunch. And he'll do whatever it takes to win. All I've ever felt from Jalen, and all I ever know from Jalen, is that the man will do anything he can do to win football games. And he pushes himself to do new things. He pushes himself to excel at the things that he has already done so well. And he's proven to everybody year in, year out that all he cares about is winning, and all he cares about is being able to hold that trophy up at the end.
Okay. I don't know where to start. Again, I think Nick Sirianni is a very good head coach. However, this bullshit that he rolls out at these news conferences is a joke. Jalen Hurts, obviously he was talking about Jalen Hurts in that comment. Do whatever it takes to win. Well, if there's a player on your team that won't do whatever it takes to win, not only should they not be on your team, and they won't be on your team, they won't be in the NFL. What kind of comment is that? He's going to do whatever it takes to win. So will everybody on that team. Or you think they should. Well, but that's not necessarily the case with Jalen Hurts. And then he made a point, and he wants to hold up that trophy. Doesn't everybody want to hold up a trophy? Doesn't everybody want to touch a Super Bowl trophy and have their picture taken and hold it up? What kind of comment is that? And then he tries to imply that he'll do whatever it takes and more under center. I think he said he played more under center. You know how long it's taken this team to get Jalen Hurts to take more snaps under center, and he takes less snaps under center than more than half the quarterbacks in the NFL because he's not comfortable with it. If he's not comfortable with it, they don't want to force him. Kellen Moore tried last year, and I know this, that he tried last year to get Jalen Hurts to take more snaps under center. And he wasn't comfortable with it, so they didn't do it much. They did it more this year and kind of like in the mid part of the season. Then they backed off again, and he went to the shotgun because he's more comfortable in the shotgun or the pistol, taking the snap because he feels that he can see the defense better. Whatever the case, but you can run play action better with taking a snap under center. So he's going to do whatever it takes. Oh, really? He's going to do whatever it takes. Well, then on the last play, let me go over the last play again. And Jason Avant made a great point when he was on the last show. Whatever it takes. Well, the head coach, the offensive coordinator, and Jalen Hurts discussed what should be the last play before the last play on the 4th and 11 in the playoff game. Well, I don't think Kevin Petula made that decision. I think the head coach and the quarterback made that decision. But he'll do whatever it takes. So if it was such a basic play, why run it? Because that's what he's comfortable with. So he apparently won't do whatever it takes. And this is outside of what Nick Sirianni said. And Jason Avant made the obvious point. He threw the pass into triple coverage with a 4th player for San Francisco in the area. If you're doing everything it takes, you've got to extend the play. Extend the play, and you find something else. It would be a miracle to complete that pass into triple coverage. And if that's the case, likely somebody's open. But I'm not even going to get into that part of it. But you have to extend the play. You have to extend the play. And I see a comment here by Peter J. Van Matter or whatever. Well, Jalen, this is his comment. Well, Jalen isn't taking as many snaps under center because Cam was a sloppy center. 100% incorrect. You are clueless, Peter. 100% clueless. You're a dope and you're clueless. That is not the case. But so with all that, Nick Sirianni is trying to make Jalen sound good. And I understand the coach is trying to make his player sound like he's going to do everything. Yeah, it's lip service. It's clearly lip service. But he's doing everything it takes. He's taking more more snaps under center. Is that a big deal? Is that supposed to be a big deal to people? But he goes on and says nothing. And that's because he's told to say nothing. Or he's coached to say nothing. That's another thing, which I don't think that does him a service. Coach to say nothing. That is not doing him a good service. It's just. Did I? Okay, I did mention the winner. I saw a note here, but that's a problem. All right, before I play Howie Roseman, it just whatever it takes. He should have been throwing the ball in He shouldn't have thrown the ball in critical situations. What are you talking about? It just is. This is the Peter person again. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? It's ridiculous. But whatever. It's 4th and 11 is a critical situation. All right. Cowboy Jim, as we live and breathe, gets more stupid all the time. Patty, the Sirianni and Howie news conference was an absolute joke. They said nothing meaningful. Joke, Patty, is probably not a strong enough word. All right, let's go to Cowboy Jim. Sometimes comb your hair before you come on the show, will you?
Yeah, well, I was out walking my dog. It was snowing out. Okay, give me a break.
Is it snowing? Is it snowing there?
Yeah, it's snowing here in central Jersey.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Before I give you a compliment, let's talk about Mark Lawrence and how he picked Oregon. That didn't work out too good for you,
Well,
did that, Mark
okay.
Lawrence?
You know what? It's called the reason it's called gambling. Is that all you have to talk about?
No,
You're going to
maybe.
talk about Mark Lawrence. He makes a pick. You
Uh-huh.
don't have to play what he picks.
I'll just flip a
He
coin instead. I'll just flip
look.
a coin instead.
It's a guide. So you just want to find somebody to rip because you're tired because you don't have it in your heart because you're too stupid to rip your
All
Cowboys.
right, I'm going to give you a little compliment. I'm just going to say this. You look better in a fur coat than Aaron Andrews. I'm just going to say that. You look much better than that.
And you know what? You are correct.
That's right.
You know, I think she always used to see me wear the fur coats. I think she tried to get a little attention, and she did. That's all right. She did
Yeah,
get some
she
attention.
was wearing a skunk. You were wearing I'm
Well,
not
yeah.
sure
Well,
what you
she was wearing a faux fur, but whatever. She, you know, she wore something that stood out. You know, but uh, she
I
did it
know.
for whatever.
I'm not going to give you too many compliments, but
I
that
know
one
you're
I'll give
not.
you a compliment. And what a wonderful week in sports for Philadelphia. Boy, it's been wonderful. Maybe if your quarterback wasn't trying to get, trying not to get hurt, maybe if you could read a defense, maybe you're stuck with that loser now for a while. You are stuck with that loser. And why did the Eagles? I mean, I'm glad they lost, but why didn't they use Bigsby more? Why didn't they blitz
Well,
Purdy
you got to
more?
use you. Well, why did they do? Well, Bixby. People ask, but your best back is Saquon Barkley. All right, so
Yeah, but he was
you
just dancing around back there. He's just
well,
dancing
no,
around. He didn't do
okay.
anything.
Who would you rather have the football, Saquon Barkley or Bixby?
In that moment, I'd give it to
For
Bigsby
what moment? What moment are you talking about?
because he was because Saquon wasn't
You're
doing
an
anything.
idiot. You're an idiot and a dope. You'd rather have your best. You want your best players to have the football. Saquon Barkley is your best running back.
Okay. What did they do to Hurts in the national championship game against Georgia? They took him out. Okay, and they won the game.
I
At some
know
point, you
it's
have
revisionist history, and he got benched by Nick Saban. I get it. Yeah,
right, and okay, Saquon he's fine. He's making millions. He'll be back next year. You're trying to win the game, but I'm just happy they won. And as for the Harbaugh coming to the Giants, I'm thrilled, but I'm a little worried now.
no,
But
you're not thrilled because that puts another team. The division stinks. All right, the NFC East sucks.
yes,
All
it does.
right,
Yes,
so with a good division, the Eagles wouldn't have won 11 games this year, but they still may have been the division winner. But the Giants are going to be a better team. I don't. They John Harbaugh will make them a better team. They got a
yeah.
quarterback who stays healthy, is going to be a good quarterback. Uh, you have to watch out. So the Cowboys now have dropped down to third in the division.
Well, if they can put together a good defense, if they can put together a top 10 defense, then your golden era, your fraudulent era to the Eagles will be over. Thank goodness. It'll be all be done.
You're talking about the Giants.
Well, no, I'm talking about the Eagles will end, but the Giants and the Cowboys will be better. So, yeah.
The
So
Cowboys will never, and I told you this, by the way, for you, that's 5 letters, never, NEVER, 5 letters, never get to a Super Bowl.
5 rings.
Okay. Yeah. They're old. They're rings you get in a Cracker Jack box now. They're so small. It's so long ago. All right. So it's such a joke. They will never get to a Super Bowl with Jerry Jones running the show and Dak Prescott as the quarterback.
Well, Jerry said he wants to be around a little bit longer to have the most Super Bowl wins. So
Yeah.
Jerry's
So he's
gonna
got to win 3 more. He won't win 1 more.
All
Are
right.
you kidding me?
All right,
You are such a dope.
let's get to baseball. So now we're gonna have a few mega teams, and the rest of the teams are just gonna be triple A. I mean,
I don't really care. All you care about in Philadelphia, and I don't know if you're a Phillies fan or you're a Texas Rangers fan or whatever you are, you care about your team in Philadelphia. And the Phillies did nothing to make this team, mid-level relievers, that's not going to get it done. Did nothing to make this team better for next year. I don't think they're as good as last year. I
no,
don't think they're as good.
no. And you know how we always love going to see the old timers. You go to see a baseball game, the old timers would show up. Well, guess what? In a couple years, the old timers are going to be the current team. They're going to be all these late 30-year-old baseball players, and fans will be going out spending a fortune to go see, go see these guys. It's a joke.
Okay. Well, and you know what? You know what else is a joke? You. I'm going to bring a little order to the show. You are done. Out of
See you,
here,
dope.
nitwit. You are done. All right. Um, person that's the person that's not done, and the company that's not done is Stillwell Financial Advisors, and Jeff Stillwell knows his, and he's a great guy too. You'll enjoy talking to him if nothing else. He knows his stuff, knows his stuff. And I would suggest you get in touch with Stillwell Financial Advisors just to see if there's anything you can do with your wealth to set yourself up for the future. That's what people are trying to do nowadays. And it's harder and harder to do with the way things are going in this country. But Jeff Stillwell can help you. 732-343-0813. Remember, Stillwell Financial Advisors. And I didn't even mention until it was brought up. John Harbaugh will be officially at some point, and then probably in the next week, the head coach of the Giants. That makes it a little tougher for the Eagles. But I just mentioned this a little while ago. I don't think the Eagles offensive coordinator is going to make that much of a difference unless the players get better. And I say players, not just one, say players, unless the players get better. You can have different thoughts, but you got to execute those thoughts. That's the other thing. That's the other thing. All right, I'm going to play a comment from Howie Roseman at the news conference. Somebody else had said nothing. But before we do that, I want to tell you about Piazza Property Pros, another fine partner of this fine show. Piazza Property Pros. Take care of your front yard. See, that front yard looks 100 times better after they got to it, that you see up there on the screen. They can do it for you. Front yard, backyard, hot tub, fire pit, pool, landscaping. It just there's so many things that they can do for you to make your property better. They don't subcontract. Those 25 years of experience are a good thing. Good people. Nice to talk to them. Just give them a call. I had a friend give them a call to have some stuff done to his property. Here's the number. Give them a call. Just check it out, whether it's fencing, landscaping, pool maintenance, pool, whatever it is. 610-566-2608. That's 610-566-2608. Or check out piazzaoutdoor.com. All right. Howie Roseman, again, obviously nothing was said in this news conference that the Eagles held this week. And that's part of the plan, but you gotta say something. Don't you have to say something? But he made he was asked about AJ Brown, and the thought is Jason Avant didn't think for his own good that AJ Brown should be here next year. Whether you have a new offensive coordinator or not, if he's not going to be happy in the final few years of his career, you gotta move on. But so Howie was asked about, and you're not going to say you're going to trade him, but maybe say a little bit more than Howie Roseman said. Let's hear from Howie Roseman.
Talked about this, I think, at the trade deadline last time I talked. It is hard to find great players in the NFL, and AJ is a great player. I think from my perspective, that's what we're going out and looking for when we go out here in free agency in the draft, is trying to find great players who love football, and he's that guy. So I think that would be my.
Everybody wants to find great players. So, we've got to, he didn't the answer is he didn't commit one way or the other. Just say, and if it comes up to bite you in the ass, it bites you in the ass. We want and will have AJ Brown here with us next year. And if somebody comes along and you make a trade that improves the football team, what you say is, okay, somebody gave us a deal that we couldn't refuse. And then they know that they have somebody else you can find really good receivers. I don't know how many there's a lot of great receivers in the NFL. There are players, and you can get really, really good wide receivers in the second and third round of the draft, easily in the second and third round of the draft. So just say something. He is our player, and we absolutely want him. He didn't even say that. But again, they're programmed. They're programmed to say nothing, and you got to give the people something, whether you believe him or not. What's to believe with what he said there? Hey, Joe, do we have somebody on the line, or did that person leave? Okay, there's a Joe on the line. Joe, thanks for joining the show. What's up, Joe?
Hey, Howard.
How are you?
Oh, I'm been dealing with this little girl for 3 weeks. She just had her zoomies and she collapsed. Perfect timing.
Wait a minute. Is that a new dog or a dog that just got sick that you had
No,
to take care?
No, that's a 9.5-week-old cockapoo.
Oh, wow. So it's a new dog then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm trying to train her before I can take her to Florida. I'm going to be a bachelor for a couple of weeks until my wife will be in Naples. And
Nice place. I have friends in Naples. Nice place. Nice
yeah,
place.
we talked about it. I was on here once before. And,
Yeah, I know. I remember now.
So,
yeah. So what's up, Joe?
Well,
okay. Let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
Do you think a new offensive coordinator for the Eagles will really change things enough to get them back to the Super Bowl? And I'm taking the big leap here.
Well, that depends upon Jalen Hurts.
So it's not the offensive coordinator.
It's both.
The answer
like,
to your question is it's not the offensive coordinator.
Well, it's a couple things.
The
design of the offense was terrible.
Yeah, but that's not. You're going to blame the offensive coordinator.
No, I'm going to blame. I think part of it, a good part of it, is Jalen. So what they need to do is they need to have an offensive coordinator that comes in and says, "This is how we're going to do it, and if you don't do it this way, you're not playing." That's how I would approach it, because you just can't keep banging your head against the wall. I mean, I was glad they lost because I was tired of watching it. It was like Chinese water torture. I mean, the offense was horrible. So he's got to do what they want him to do, and if he refuses to do it, like he won't run, they say, "Well,
you know what? I think defense. Defenses are doing things to not let him get around the edges. That's another thing. He's not getting around the edges, and they're kind of forcing him to pass because they want him to throw the football. So when your lanes are kind of blocked up, what are you going to do?
Well, he's not decisive in the run game. So there were runs last against the 49ers that were there that he didn't take. So
when he scrambles and they close it off, and they know he wants to. They know when he gets out of the pocket what he wants to do. He goes right almost all the time. He goes right, and he's not really looking downfield as much. He throws it. So they're stopping him from getting around the edge.
No, I agree. I think a lot of the problem is him.
Okay. All right.
But it's like he's got an arm. There's no reason he can't throw over the middle, and why they don't run.
The reason is he's not comfortable because he's apparently afraid to throw into tight windows, and he's not comfortable. He doesn't really scan the field over the middle of the field as well. Right. You're throwing down the edges. You're not going to throw an interception because your receiver, if it looks like the defender can get the ball, is then going to become a defender to not allow the interception. And it's easier to do there.
I agree, but I go back. He's got to do. Next year is the year. Okay.
Yep.
So if they have to get the O-line healthy, or replace people who are broken down, and they'll have a new offensive coordinator. If the offense shits the bed next year, okay, they have to move on from Jalen. And
they're not going to. I would be shocked if they give. I'll use the word surprise. Shock strong. I would be surprised if they give Jalen an extension before next season. you got like 2 years left, and that's the time you try to give him an extension. I would be surprised if they gave him an
Yeah,
extension.
he's got to prove it next year.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So now, the Phillies.
Oh my God.
Uh,
Phillies.
I won't even say anything. Your thoughts on the Phillies off season?
It's been awful. I mean, that's the question I asked you the last time I was on. Is it Dombrowski or is it the ownership? But whoever's fault it is, they're either they have the worst of both worlds. It appears that they're cheap, and they're being outplayed by the agents for these players, and the minor league system isn't producing enough players to
Okay, here's a part of the problem. It's layers of a problem. John Middleton is not cheap. However, they're trying to do too much with their average cost per year and stretching it out, which they know the back years won't be good enough. But they've signed players to bad contracts. Bryce Harper was a really good player, was a great player when they signed him. Not a great player anymore. He's a good player. All right. But they signed him to 13 years because the agent wanted the largest contract. So the Phillies fell into that trap, and now they're stuck with that contract. Trey Turner is a good player, very good player. But did you really need to sign him to 10 years? It's just, so now you got that contract. You sign, and Wheeler's only got 2 years left, and you hope Wheeler is healthy. And I just don't think he's going to be the same pitcher coming back from that injury. Then you sign Aaron Nola to this big contract. They made a mistake with Taijuan Walker, who absolutely sucks. All right. They made a mistake with him. So they have these contracts what they're stuck to. So now, and here is another issue, and I've mentioned this before. John Middleton has other owners, and they have to approve what he's doing, even though he makes decisions, the money decisions. Those other owners are the family of the original group that was put together. A lot of the original group, and they want to win, but they want to make money. And so it's just, so he's caught with that, from what I'm hearing a little bit. But then they made a bad signing when they didn't get Bo Bichette. JT Realmuto is 35 years old now, all right, or it will be before the season starts. 3 years, $15 million a year. What are they doing?
Well, I think they felt that they had to sign.
Well, because he had him by the you-know-whats, because they
absolutely.
didn't sign anybody. So they bring back the same team. So you're not happy with the Phillies then, right?
No, I mean, I can live with some of that stuff if they had guys in the pipeline
I know.
ready to come up.
It's
So
just,
I mean, Crawford's got to play center field, and I would put Harper back in the outfield.
who's got to play center field?
Crawford.
Oh yeah, he'll be up. He'll
Yeah,
be up
he
before the
should be
season's
starting.
over.
He should be starting.
Well, he may start the season, but he'll be up.
I would
Aiden
move
Miller's
Harper.
another player for third base, but now they can't trade Bohm. And I never wanted him to trade Bohm, but he'll be gone after this year. Bohm
No, but
will be gone.
I would put Harper in the outfield. I would put Bohm at first base.
Let me,
Miller at third base.
okay, let me stop you right there. Harper won't go to the outfield. He can say he'll do whatever this team wants. He's not going to the
So
outfield.
he's another one who will do everything to win, but doesn't.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry.
He doesn't want to go back to the outfield. He wanted to come to first base. That's why Reese Hoskins didn't
Well,
stay
they
here.
have to place. Look, it's time to move on from these people. So
Yeah.
if Miller is is supposed to be as great a prospect, bring him up. All these other teams bring these people up. The Phillies let him sit in the. Look at Ryan.
Well, okay. Crawford, you didn't bring up because you traded for a center fielder. You traded for Bader. So Crawford wasn't going to come up there. Marsh is a borderline backup player. He's a fourth or fifth outfielder. He can't hit left-handers. That was a bad trade. So between bad signings and bad trades, Crawford will be up. Aiden Miller may come up this year, but he's the future third baseman. And there's somebody else. Oh, and Painter's going to be. He didn't have a good year last year because they changed his motion. He can throw hard, but he doesn't know where he's throwing it right now. But he'll be up this year. He'll probably be the fourth starter in the rotation. So he'll be up. So they do have some young players, but they've made all these mistakes. Brad Marsh. I mean, I just brought up Brad Marsh. That was a bad trade.
Wouldn't you like to have the catcher they traded for him?
Yes. Yeah. I know. I know.
You wouldn't need JT.
I know. So they've made some bad decisions. All right. Hey Joe, I appreciate you joining the show. The Sixers we don't even talk about because they flat out stink.
And the
Uh,
Flyers need to be Comcast.
you
Please
know
tell
what?
the Flyers
They went into a bad little spin here, but I think they're the next team to win a championship. I do think they're the next team to win a championship. But I don't know about the Eagles. I'd put the Eagles out of the mix, out of the other teams. They're the next, and it's not anytime soon. But whatever. I still have confidence in the people running the Flyers. Joe, take care of your doggy.
I will.
Okay. And we try to take care of doggies too. All right. Take care. Joe,
Peace
have a
out,
great
Howard.
week. All right.
You too.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining the show. We try to take care of doggies too. And I do so with asking you when you get my picks on my social media platforms. It benefits the donations go to Brandywine Valley SPCA. They have a lot of events. They have a lot of dogs. If you want to adopt a dog, that is foster a dog, that is a great place to do it, as well as Providence Animal Center. Always have events going on. They always do great things for the doggies. And my picks, which are up on my social media platforms, the donations you make they go to those people to help the doggies. It's just, I see a comment from somebody, Paul. He says, I've been listening for a long time to your show. I'm sick over the Eagles still. We're spoiled. Well, yeah, but you should be spoiled. You should want the best. And you should want the best from the Phillies. I don't talk about the Sixers because who gives a bleep about the Sixers? They lost Friday night, lost two in a row to a team playing in Philadelphia. That almost never happens. You usually split. And they were up by 7 late in the game. Embiid had 5 rebounds in 33 minutes. He is just brutal. Brutal. They are brutal. It's just they'll have a slightly winning record. They'll lose in the playoffs, and they got nothing. But worried about the Eagles, worried about the Phillies not doing anything. They got some issues. All right. I'm going to do something different with my question today. And it's going to create some thought for you. It's going to create some thought. Something that Mark Lawrence said about the pro football games that you think is really relevant to taking that side in the game. Again, it creates some thoughts. So there's really no, and by the way, this will be for the pair of Oakley sunglasses. And you can win a pair of Oakley sunglasses. It's your thought. So a little work here for the Oakley sunglasses. Obviously, you come with a thought that you think was really relevant that Mark Lawrence said to taking one of those teams in one of the games. I have some thoughts that he said, which factor in to picking the games. Submit your entry to my contact page at howardeskin.com by midnight on Tuesday, this coming Tuesday next week, January 20th. We'll announce a winner on the show on Wednesday night on X, Twitter, call it both. Shows at 7:30, Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube. And on YouTube, I suggest you subscribe. And you're notified as soon as the show comes on. A winner will be randomly chosen, and we'll come up with somebody randomly that comes up with the best thought. And do something a little different, create a little thought for you. Let me just, somebody, Joe Whip, I can out jump Embiid, and I am in my 60s. Joe, you probably can. It's hard to watch the Sixers. Is another comment from Fred. Is Embiid is really a waste? Yeah, but they got him for a few more years. And somebody else, save the doggy's life, rescue one. No overpriced puppies. That is correct. Yeah, there's a lot of good. There was a lot of good comments today from a lot of places all over the country. It just, the other issue is next year's free agent class isn't good. I imagine he's talking. I guess he's talking about baseball. I can't. Herb, you can't believe the Phillies didn't bring in a good player yet. They're stuck. They're stuck with some of the players they have. Yeah, the Phillies farm system. Another comment, Deshae Shavers. Phillies farm system isn't good. That's why they have to keep on re-signing guys. Wasn't good for a while. They've got some good players coming up, but I don't know that that's enough. You're bringing the same. I'm just looking to see if there's anything else here um, that I want to mention. Uh, uh, so, by the way, a lot of things on social media are just BS. So you can't believe everything you read. It's just they do it for content. I do it when it's news, or when it makes sense. Uh, Stephen D'Angelo, thank you. Great show as usual. Thanks for keeping it real. Uh, so, but and the AJ reports. He wanted to be traded a few games into the season. It just he's not happy. But what difference does it make? Who cares? Who cares? It's just that you put that out there. What difference does that make now? All right. Thanks for everybody joining. Thanks to Joe Gangemi for being on the other side. All the technical work on this show, as everything we say is breaking news. Thanks to Tony Anastasia for all the graphic work she does on for the show and for my website. Thanks to her for a lot of good stuff. And thanks to the Phillies and the Eagles. Oh, no. Wait a minute. Thanks to the Phillies. No, I can't thank the Phillies. Bringing back the same team. It could be a tough season. And I don't know if there's anything they can do. They got to hope guys have unbelievable years, but we'll see. Hey, thanks to everybody. Thanks to you and you for joining the Howard Eskin Show as you were riding with the King. And we'll see you Wednesday at 7:30.
Yes, K-I-N. Oh, yeah. Hey, you turn it up, Philly. It's time to roll on the ones and twos, taking full control. From the link to the X, from the sixes to the fields. One voice cuts through, giving you the real. He broke the stories, he started the fire, launched the whole game back in '86, never retired. Heroes crown him, yeah, they call him the king. Fur coat flashing, bling bling in every ring. He's the hardest working, great talking dog. Call in with your tape, but don't get it wrong. He'll call you a nitwit if you're acting a fool, but deep down you love it. That's the Eskin rule. Riding with the king, yeah, we're riding with the king. Howard Eskin Show, let the truth ring. Eagles, Phillies, Sixers, Flyers, he knows the deal. Philly sports royalty, bow down and kneel. Riding with the king, put your hands in the air. From South Philly streets to the Delaware. No filter, no fear, just the facts on the mic. It's the Howard Eskin Show. Let's go get sight. Hey, riding with the king. Riding with the king. Hey, riding with the king. Riding with the king.